Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev as we continue our journey of doing 50 podcasts with 50 insurance agents from 50 different states. Oh my God, where did this crazy idea come from? But let's begin with an attitude of gratitude. Thank you, and you, and you. Thank all of you for watching us live, whether you're catching us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or whether you're listening to us at a later date on your favorite podcasting platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you'd like for us to be able to continue to bring you great content like this, please click on the subscribe and the notifications button below, and we'll continue to be able to bring this to you early and often and constantly strive to make it bigger and better. And while I'm thanking everyone, I would be remiss if I did not thank my two major sponsors. Number one, Canopy Connect. Listen, insurance agents, if you're looking to make the process of buying insurance easier for yourself and for your current customers and prospects, I'll keep it real simple. Use Canopy Connect. They have a digital process that makes it so easy to collect the information that we all need to write policies easy. Canopy Connect, enough said. Insurance agents, if you're looking to up your social media game, if you're trying to be or striving to be viewed over 2 million times on social media, like I have the past 2 years, look no further. Look to Carol Media for some social media assistance. They'll put you out there. You'll achieve top of mind awareness, and the rest will take care of itself. So as I proceed through the podcast, you will see my sponsors pop up on the screen behind me, and I'd be remiss, you won't see their logo, but I must mention Wintrust Financial. Absolutely great. If you're looking to get into the insurance business, buy an insurance agency, merge an insurance agency, talk to the fine people at Wintrust Financial. Okay, enough introductory stuff. Let's go today to one of, I think, the 15 states that I've never visited in the great United States, and that is the great state of Oregon. Meet me there in Happy Valley, Oregon. We're going to talk today to an agent that's been in the business a little over 20 years. During that time, she's accumulated many, many, many national awards. I tried to count on her website. I got up to 40 and I kind of gave up. But she's phenomenal in winning awards. She's also phenomenal in her community. She's an amazing all-around person. Put your warm Wind Down with Kev hands together, and let's give a warm welcome to Heidi Rowan.
Hello. So excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So excited to have you. Heidi, I was doing my deep seek research, which means looking at your website and your Facebook page. That's the extent of what we look at. And I fell in love with a couple of things in your bio. I want to start with your wonderful family first and the things that you talked about, the land you lived on, that you live on, and the fruit trees that you go there. So shout out your family and let's talk about the land you live on in Happy Valley.
Yeah. So we live on about 9.5 acres and we've been here about 5 years. And it's going to sound crazy, but we have about 500 blueberry plants. Yeah. And we didn't plant them. We bought the property with the plants on the property. And basically it's farm deferral. So we save a lot of money on our property taxes and we love blueberries. So we eat them, we give them away. We'll make jam, whatever we can make with the blueberries. We have a whole freezer dedicated to it. And, it's one of the only fruits you can freeze and it never loses its flavor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Heidi, I'm all about that blueberry life. Blueberry muffins, blueberry pie, blueberry yogurt. I love blueberries. But here's the first of many questions that pop. 9.5 acres. We might want to keep that on a DL. You have people like in New York, if you're sitting on a quarter acre, a third of acre, you're living large in New York. 9 acres, that is a lot of property. I have to think there are more fruit trees. And the question that pops to mind, animals. What do you have on those acres? What's running around there?
Yeah. So, well, other trees we have are apples. We have plum tree. We have cherry trees, and we get a lot of deer. Pretty much see deer every day. We had a couple fawns, twin fawns, born in our pasture a couple of years ago. That was cool. I got to look out the window and see them standing up for the first time. We get raccoons. We get skunks. So many squirrels that it becomes a nuisance, honestly. And a lot of people don't even know there's such a thing as a ground squirrel, which actually will burrow into the ground and create problems with foundation and drainage systems and all of that. Bunnies, a lot of bunnies, and every kind of bird. I always laugh. It's like I sound like an 80-year-old watching birds, but I really like bird watching.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, Heidi, you moved there 5 years ago to this amazing large property. Did you have the skills before you moved there? Are you a farm girl, born and raised on the farm? Did you know how to do all these things, or did you learn it as you went along?
Kind of learned as it went along. I mean, I grew up always on some kind of property. My dad worked for U.S. Fish and Wildlife, so we were always camping, and we usually lived somewhere with at least forest. So I played in the forest a lot growing up. But as far as cultivating blueberries and taking care of plants, that's something. When I bought my first house, I actually planted and designed all of the landscaping in the backyard. So I just am self-taught.
I love it. I love it. Point of connection, Heidi. I grew up on Long Island in New York. We had a singular peach tree in my yard. I think we had a grapevine in my yard. Um, my least favorite time of the year was August because that's when we had to pick the peaches from the tree. I would lose a day of playing outside because we had to sit there, pick peaches. That
Yeah,
was the downside. The upside was my mom did we did have desserts all winter from the peaches, peach cobblers, just sweet
I love
peaches,
peaches.
all packed neatly into mason jars. It was the work part I dislike. I like the fruit. I didn't like the labor.
I get that. I definitely get that. My husband usually packs all the blueberries. I get kind of out of that chore. So I'm the one that's going to do all this stuff with it, right? I'm going to make the muffins or make the jam. But I
I
do that
love
when
it.
I feel like doing it. So it's not too bad.
I love it. I love it. So I'm on your website. I'm scrolling. Shout out your husband and your daughter and your beautiful family before I go further.
Thank you. Oh,
Good,
you want
good,
me to
good.
talk about it?
Anything
Sorry.
nice you want to say about them? They're going to watch this podcast. I don't want
Sorry.
you to go without mentioning them.
Yes, definitely. So I've known my husband since I was 17. Didn't date though till late 20s. Well, actually, we did go on a date, but I didn't know how to snowboard, and he was a big snowboarder, and he didn't want to go on a second date with me.
Not cool. No snowboarding. Where are we going here? What's
Yeah,
going to
right.
happen here?
So then we started dating again when that wasn't such a big deal to him, and got married, and we've been married actually in September. It'll be 20 years.
I love it. Happy early
So
anniversary. That's a beautiful milestone.
thank you. And then my daughter's 15. We only have one child, and she is a great kid, straight A's,
Nice.
into horses, very independent. I like that about her. And I think she's going to be an amazing adult.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love you describing her that she's going to be an amazing adult more than pigeonholed in any career. When people ask me, what do my sons do for a living? I always tell them that they're wonderful human beings because
I
that's what I
love
want them to be. They're
that.
wonderful human beings. So, Heidi, I'm looking at your website. I'm looking at your amazing staff. But the one person I want to ask about is your greeter. Talk to me about the greeter in the agency. You have a wonderful greeter that's a little bit different. That's kind of not standard on most websites that I look at. And I've looked at hundreds of them. Talk to me about the greeter in your agency. It's an amazing role and an important role.
Yeah, it took a long time to find this greeter. He's got a lot of experience, but his name is Rudy. He is my mutt that we rescued from Oregon Rescue, and he is the friendliest, sweetest dog. Everybody meets him, wants to take him home.
Nice.
And he's probably, we don't know exactly how old he is. We think he was about 1.5 when we adopted him, but I'm going to say he's probably 9.5 to 10 now.
I love it. I love it. So it's not my intent to give insurance hacks and business secrets. But if people are looking for one that's a little bit different, hire a greeter. It looks like Rudy's doing a great job. Check out Heidi's website. You'll see a picture of Rudy there. You'll see his backstory. Definitely will make you want to do business with Heidi's agency. Heidi, what do you love about being an all-state agent? You just crossed your 20th anniversary. Happy 20th, approaching your 21st anniversary. What do you love about being an all-state agent?
Well, before I became an agent, I always worked for someone. So I will say that my favorite thing is that I actually am in control of my day.
Yes.
So I have the flexibility to, if I need to go pick my daughter up, I can pick my daughter up. But I also like the interaction. Like I'm really not talking to clients as much as I used to because I have, 19 employees, and so there's a lot that goes in. I'm working basically on the business, not so much in the business, but I love that mentoring and seeing my staff become better at their job. And I've had three staff become agents.
Nice.
So yeah, to watch them grow into that is pretty amazing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And kudos to you on building such a large staff, not only the 19 that are with you now, but the 3 that you mentored and helped them go on their best path to become an agent. I think that's one of the most phenomenal things that we can do. So kudos to you for getting that done. Happy Valley, Oregon. I could say that name like over and over again. Heidi, if we were meeting in Happy Valley today for lunch, where would we be eating at?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's not necessarily right in Happy Valley, but I love De Fuego. It's like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of I think they call it like a Brazilian,
Ooh,
kind of grill. But it's also, I love bourbon, so it's there's a lot of a lot of bourbon, hard to get bourbon. But the flavors that they cook there with the meat and the sides and I'm a big foodie. I love food.
I love it. Perfectly acceptable if I were there to order a nice bourbon old fashioned for lunch. That would be cool.
100%.
Cool. I want to fit in. I want to act like I belong in Happy Valley. We're talking offline. There's probably 15 states in the great United States that I haven't been to. The Northwest is just an area of the country that I haven't been to yet. But you replied, there's only 4 left on your list. Where haven't you been?
So I have not been to New Mexico, which I'm hoping to check off next year. I want to go to the biggest balloon festival in the U.S.
Nice.
Yeah, and then North Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska. So my husband and I, more than likely, when we retire, will check those off. We're gonna do some RVing across country. I'll finally get those other 3 off my list.
I love it. I talked to an agent a couple of weeks ago that's near the Balloon Fest. She described it as very natural at the end of her day being able to see the hot air balloons up in the air. So that sounds wonderful. That sounds amazing. And kudos to you to getting down to only 4 states left. Is that a vision that you had of something you always wanted to do? Or is that something that happened as a part of being an agent and making friends across the country?
Well, it kind of happened just growing up. My dad worked for US Fish and Wildlife, so he was big into camping and road trips, and I lived in 7 states.
Nice.
So, I even lived in Alaska, born in Florida, lived
Nice.
in Alaska. So went from one side to the other. And then from there, I just had a love of travel and started wanting to see other parts of the US. And then I had a job prior to Allstate where I traveled a lot as well.
I love it. Tell me your backstory. What was that job?
So that job right before Allstate was working for a company called CollegeNet. So I sold online forms to higher education, so colleges basically. And my territory was the Southeast. So traveled a lot, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, but we also went to conferences in other states outside of Southeast as well.
I love it. Help me understand. You sold online.
Yeah, so if you're a student and you're going to apply to a college, we would host those applications So we
Yes.
create the forms, and it could be other forms as well. And then we actually handle storage as well. So then that way you don't, as a college, have to worry about all the storage
All the paper
capabilities and the
files.
security and all of that goes along with it.
Wow. Heidi, how did that I'll ask this one first. How did that experience in the digital space, how is that helping you now as an Allstate agent where we're living in a more of a digital world than a retail world?
Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, I would say probably more than anything, it helped me understand the back end application of things,
Okay.
like open end versus closed end, and kind of how that all is created. So then it looks pretty, right? When you're looking at it on the web.
Yes, yes. You understand what goes into it behind it. For
Yeah.
many people, it's new. We're in flux. We're learning. We're catching on. But fortunately, had it. How did Allstate win you away from a great job and a great opportunity like that?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How did Allstate win you away from a
Oh,
great opportunity with so much
so
travel?
yeah, I was at that job. Well, so just to give you a little background, even before that, I was in sales, and I went to school for advertising. So I worked for an advertising agency for a couple of years, and then I was actually selling radio for a couple of years as well. So I had about 10 years of sales and marketing experience. So I was working at CollegeNet, and I'll be honest, I was getting tired of working for people, and I
Okay.
started looking for a job. And the business at CollegeNet on the admissions side was struggling a little.
Okay.
So they laid off people, and I was one of the layoffs. And it was kind of a good old boy mentality. I didn't have a family at the time. Other person selling did, so they held on to him, even though my sales were higher. I'm not bitter, I promise, because I'm in a better place. Um,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
and but it was a blessing. It really was, because I was laid off. I was given severance. I remember I was getting married, and within that year, and I went home to my fiance and I said, I was just laid off. What am I going to do? So anyway, I took some time to think about it, and I actually called my Allstate agent at the time because my dad needed boat insurance. So I was getting a
Nice.
quote for him, and I was talking to the agent, and I said, "Yeah, I lost my job." I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really would love to just own my own business. I'm just not sure what that would be. And he's like, well, you should be an Allstate agent. And I was like, insurance?
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so boring. I mean, who grows up, and I mean, some people do, but who grows up thinking I'm going to be an insurance agent? It's just not, high on
Doesn't
the
happen.
desire list. Yeah. But he said, well, you'll own your business. And he kind of explained what it entailed. And so I started that process, and I started in '04, and it was probably the best time in Allstate to really, I started scratch. It had no
Nice.
customers. I was buying internet leads. So I was one of the kind of pioneers of doing that back in the
Definitely.
day. And I would call 10 people, I'd probably sell 8 of them. I mean, we were so competitive, and
Wow.
and they weren't getting the number of calls like they do today with the internet leads. So I think from all that experience, just being on the phone, always used to having to pick up the phone and dial for dollars and talk to people, it was easy when I opened.
It's phenomenal. Oh 04, you're buying internet leads. You're way ahead of the game. I've been with Allstate much longer than that. I didn't become an agent until '07. But the internet lead phenomenon, agents were not doing that heavily until maybe 2009, 2010. And at that point, I was behind and playing catch up. But to be able to buy it then and close 8 out of 10, oh my God, that had to be an incredible time. So
Yeah, it
you
was
were forced to hire, forced to grow. What was that transition like? You started in '04 by yourself, or did you start with a couple of people?
totally by myself. But looking back, I wish I had hired people quicker, honestly.
Okay.
That was something that's a good learning um, for me, a learning point. But I will say that I had never managed anybody, so that was probably the biggest thing, was just learning to hire the right people, give up control, because I was kind of controlling in the beginning, and hire those people that do the things well that you probably aren't as good at, right?
How did you develop yourself into that person? Was that something you picked up within the company, or was it something that you picked up through outside reading or focusing on personal development?
Yeah, so I did a lot of reading. I also would talk to other people that were doing well. I'm really big on learning from other people and making it yours, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I don't think there's anything in my agency that I could say was purely something that didn't come from somebody else, right?
Yes.
Right.
No.
I mean, honestly, Laura Harris was one of my very first mentors. Now she's a great friend. I just feel like it's so cool to go from
One of the
seeing
greatest.
somebody in a presentation and then they're a great friend, and that journey is just so cool to look back on,
No, absolutely. Big shout out to Laura Harris.
for
You and
sure.
I were both in Texas a couple of weeks ago. Laura Harris was there. Get a chance to see her. We're talking offline. How did you enjoy the Texas Leaders Forum? And for newer agents that may listen to this podcast, how important is it to travel, network, and meet other agents and to pick up an idea or two that helps improve your agency?
I don't think you could survive without it, honestly. Yeah, you have to, otherwise you're on an island struggling with your issues, not seeing anything outside of your own problems or your own processes, right? So when you meet other people, it gives you new ideas, it refreshes your soul. It's really hard to be an entrepreneur. We get constantly slammed with, you know, a lot of stuff every day.
A lot of stuff is the best word you can use. I
Yeah,
want to go back to something you said before. You said the outside perception when the agent kind of recruited you and told you about the business that no one grows up wanting to be in the insurance business, and there's an outside perception that insurance is boring. So
right.
you hang out with some of the coolest and craziest agents in the country. Is there anything boring within your clique, within your crew that you have across the country? Anything boring at all?
I would say that insurance agents are some of the most amazing people to be around. They're full of energy, full of ideas, go-getters, fun. Definitely type A, definitely uh, willing to try new things. And that's the kind of person I am. So to be around people like that, I love it.
Beautiful. So I'm going to start selling t-shirts, going to say insurance is boring, but with the not logo in between. And I need you and everybody you know to rock the shirt. We owe it to the industry to change that perception. I'm kidding, of course, but I might be serious. You never know with all the things I'm doing and crazy ideas. But we have to change that perception so people know how awesome it is to be in this field. Great state of Oregon. How hard is it for someone to get their insurance license and to take the first step, not to be an agency owner, but just to become a licensed support person, sales or service? How hard is it getting your license in Oregon?
It's relatively easy. So you initially need well, you can do it. There's three ways to do it. So you can get your personal lines, which is just basically you're selling personal lines. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's 20 hours of time. And then you do the studying that you have to pass with the prep exam company that you purchase. And then you go take the test. So you could do that in 2 weeks if you really were a go-getter.
Nice.
Then there's property and casualty, which is going to add the commercial piece to it, which is 40 hours. I did that in 2 weeks, so you still could do that in 2 weeks.
Nice.
I always tell people if you're not interested in doing anything else than Allstate, do the personal lines if you just want to get it done quick. But if you have bigger goals, do the PNC. And then, of course, you can also get your life and health, which I always encourage if this is a bigger picture for you. So you can get all of your licenses within a month. Again, you just have to focus on it and make it a priority.
I love it. So for the person that's not in our industry listening to this podcast, the timeline sounds reasonable. What are you looking at out of pocket in Oregon? What's the financial investment that someone would have to make in themselves to get those licenses?
It's less than $500.
Wow, for $500 or less, you can have a whole new career and you can have an income earning opportunity with no cap on it.
No cap on it. I actually have a friend's son who's working on his license right now, and I'm giving him the opportunity to sell in the agency when he gets licensed. So I'm pretty excited for him. I think he's going to do amazing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So this is a friend's son. Just by that intro, I would take it it's a young man.
Yes.
Okay, good.
He's
Like
22.
22, really young. I've
I
spoken to some
love
of the
the
most.
young go-getters. They work so hard in the agency if they're focused, right?
Yes, yes. I love it. I like to think of growing my agency and other agencies that I advise. I want to run the agency exactly the way I want my sports teams to run. I want them to be younger and faster
Yeah.
all the time, because to engage in today's marketplace, you need that. You need a comfort zone of using technology and just to be a go getter, a willingness to go after it. What kind of people are you interested in? Two questions. Are you hiring in your agency? And what kind of
Always
people are you
hiring,
looking for?
always be hiring.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, I'm always hiring. I'm looking for, like I said, go-getters, detail-oriented, multitaskers. Coachable is huge to
yes.
me. Always be willing to grow. Our 5 core values, just so you know, is play as a team, don't worry, be happy, evolution, which means you're always evolving personally, professionally, steering wheel, which means you basically don't need to be micromanaged. You know,
Yes,
do your job. And then
yes.
don't F the customer, which means you're compliant and you always do what's right and you're acting as an advisor and not as just an order taker in the agency.
How clear and how powerful are your core values? Each core value said, it gave me a mental reference to some books that I've read that you've probably read as well that are associated with it. And the last one that was very, very powerful. It's
Mhm.
crystal clear, and I imagine violating that any of the core values, especially the last one, don't f the customers. That would lead to someone not working at your agency for a very long time.
Yes, I do not mess around with my core values because it could completely bring down your agency. It becomes a cancer when you have somebody who doesn't pay attention to those. I just let go of somebody last week that's an example of that. She was spreading some gossip and, creating a little cancer in the agency, and I just didn't put up with it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to perform the surgery and remove it. If not, it spreads. It
Exactly.
spreads.
Yep.
Heidi, talk to me about the landscape geography of Happy Valley, Oregon, and what are some of the natural disasters that you have to make sure you protect your customers against? Something as a New York agent I might not be aware of.
Yeah. So the two biggest are ice storms and
Wow.
fire. Yeah.
Wow. Fire is relatable,
Like,
universal,
but
and
yeah.
when.
Wind
Talk
is
to me
more the
about,
coast, but yeah, we get a little bit of, the wind issues too. But the ones that have affected me the most have been, are my customers that I've noticed in a bigger scale have been the ice and the fire.
let's start with the ice storms. Educate me on that. I've done probably 40. I'm approaching 40 out of the 50 podcasts that I'm doing. I have not talked about ice storms at all. So educate the audience. What are the ice storms that come to Happy Valley?
Yeah, so we sometimes we'll get a weather report says we're going to get snow and it turns into freezing rain.
Yeah.
So we'll get about an inch or two of freezing rain and it'll stick around for sometimes it's a couple days. The last really bad one in 2019 was 8 days of no power and trees down. So when you get that kind of weight on
Yeah.
trees, it brings
Yeah.
them down, which lands on homes, you know, takes out power lines, and people obviously are losing all the food that they have in their freezers and if they don't have generators and that sort of thing. So back in 2019, because I live on 9.5 acres, we had put solar panels on our home and we
Okay.
were waiting for our generator, but it was on backup. So we had just bought the house
Nice.
and the solar panels, because of all the ice on them and everything going on, and there was an issue with the inverter, it didn't work. So we had
Ooh.
no power, but you have to remember when you're on land, you are on a well. So if you have no power, you have no water.
Oh.
So I had no water for 8 days, no internet for 8 days, but I still had to help my customers. And you have to
Yes.
remember all my staff was also out of power.
Yes.
So I had to run around to different hotels. I had to stay with friends and family. It was really stressful trying to not only take care of myself, my family, my staff, but also my customers, and making sure my customers understood what was covered, how they could get help. Did it make sense to turn in a claim? Because, just because your food's completely spoiled in your fridge, you have $1,000 deductible. It doesn't make sense
Yeah,
to turn
not
in
worth it. You need more.
unless
You need more damage.
right.
You need more damage than that. Well, that sounds like a challenging time in every aspect of insurance we sell. When you mentioned the ice storms and the freezing rain sticking around for a couple of days, I'm thinking about the road hazards that creates. Obviously, the weight of the ice, what that does for the home insurance hazards. Um, any where do I want to go with this? Um, with those hazards, the ice storms, the fire, the wind, what are the key coverages that you drill down on in your agency to make sure customers in your area and in the state that you insure that they're properly protected?
We have to talk about the home, obviously, and making sure that we understand what is the characteristics of your home, how much coverage you really need. Um, I hate when somebody goes, just match my insurance. No,
Nope.
I want to know about your home. I want to know what coverages you need. I am so proud of my team because when we have had natural disasters, we've had fires or just, a one-off fire, we've always, knock on wood, had the coverage the customer needed to get them back to where they were prior to the loss.
I
So,
love it. I love it. I love it. In 20 years, is there one claim story that comes to mind where maybe you were really happy the customer had the right coverage and you were able to get that family back in their home sooner versus later?
well, I had a staff write a policy, and a month later, we had the fires. And they
Wow.
lost their home. And Chantel, she's been with me 5 years. She wrote the best policy for them. I hate when there's not building code coverage on a
Yes.
home, and we don't write it without it. And if somebody says we don't want it, we'll make them sign something. But any home, it doesn't matter if it's brand new. Every year, building codes change,
Mhm.
and you might not review your home every year, even though we ask you to review your policies every year. So those things are changing. You need to have that coverage. Basically, if you have, let's say, a partial fire in your home, and the city comes in and says, well, you need to upgrade all your electrical or all your plumbing in order to do that remodel, that building codes coverage is going to give you a certain percentage of your dwelling to take care of that. So it's really important. And I mean, it could be as simple as a fireplace code change.
Yes.
So we had that coverage on the home. We had the extended coverage as well, the 120% replacement. We had, you know, personal property replacement. They were so happy with us. It was a great experience.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Shout out to you and Chantel for giving them the right coverage and for being able to get that family back in their home. Um, that goes back to the insurance is boring. There's nothing boring about losing everything that people work hard
No,
for. And
not at
there's nothing boring about the joy we feel when we can get someone, not only getting them back in the home is the end of it. It's the in-between steps. It's the additional living expenses. It's the family staying together in the home, hotel, or alternative housing. I often tell people as long as the family is together, you can make it. It's when you're here, your husband's there, and your daughter's someplace else. That's not good.
all.
That's what you want to avoid. That's why it's important.
For
We're in a
sure.
digital age where a lot of people are scrolling, buying insurance from 1-800 numbers and .com companies. What have you seen when people have come to you? They're coming from one of those places. They've forgotten something that's mission critical for you, which really emphasizes the value of having a local agent.
Yeah, I mean, it actually kind of drives me crazy when somebody buys. I mean, your home is your biggest asset, right? It drives
Yes.
me crazy when somebody buys insurance online and they didn't talk to somebody about the coverage. How do you know you
Yes.
have the right coverage? So I do think it's important to have someone review that with you and go through the characteristics. And even if we're just talking auto insurance, let's say that you pick 100,000, 300,000 a liability, 100,000 a property damage. 100 property damage is going to cover you if you hit somebody and you damage their vehicle, right? Well, what if you get in a multi-car accident? An average cost of a vehicle is $70,000. So let's say you damage 3 vehicles and you're looking at $210,000 and you only have $100,000 of coverage. It doesn't matter, you know, who you are, what you do, you still owe that money.
Yeah,
So people don't have $110,000 just sitting in their bank to pay that. And in the state of Oregon, we can garnish your wages, or the state will garnish your wages. So, we really want to make sure we're protecting people against those situations.
that's huge, Heidi. Even for the person that says, well, Heidi, I don't have much, so I don't have much to lose. I also cannot afford to have my check garnished. The least I have, the more important it is to have the right limit, so you're not having money taken out of your check.
Exactly.
Uh, Heidi, I open with all of your sales accolades and all the wonderful things you've done on that level, but you've also done a phenomenal job in the community. Talk about some of the things in the community that are important to you. I think there was one person that really touched your heart. Their stories on your website. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Are you talking about Ariel's granddaughter?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, and she's actually passed away since then too from brain cancer as well. So, yeah, so Ariel was 7 years old. She found out about a year prior to that she had, I think, glioblastoma brain cancer, which is not very high success of surviving, which is horrible. And so we did a car wash to try to raise money for her medical expenses. As you can imagine, it adds up really quickly. And so that was fun to like have all the, invite customers out, invite the community out. So we did that. And as I said, Ariel unfortunately passed away as well a couple of years ago from the same thing. But I smile knowing they're together because they really had a very close relationship. I'm actually going to get a little emotional because she was an
Beautiful.
important person to me.
I hear the change in the inflection in your voice. That goes to some of the phenomenal work that's done in insurance agencies around the country. Every local community has their elected officials, the Kiwanis, the Rotarians, and all the other people that give to the community. But one of the things I've learned in this process is that insurance agents are absolutely the glue. Your outreach to your customer base and doing what you could to raise what you could to help meant the world to the family and the community, just to be able to participate in the effort of doing what we can when we can with what we have.
Yeah, and she actually was a customer and became a friend. So that was pretty special.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Any other projects that you're working on in the community now, in the past, present, or future that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'm really into rescuing dogs. So I actually have another dog named Maisie. So there's the Oregon Dog Rescue that's local. So I've done some events. We've actually done dog washing events. So I've done some events with that to raise money for that facility as well. Every once in a while, my team will get together and we'll go do some things at like a local food bank and feed people at the food bank or bring in canned goods and raise canned goods for that as well. And I support a lot of local sports teams. So anytime any of my staff has a kid on a sports team, I'm going to sponsor that. Or if I never say no to a customer if they want me to support their kid. I can't, like, I have to support them. It
I
means
love it.
yeah.
I love it. Well, it seems second nature to you. It's not second nature to many businesses. And reinforce the argument. Insurance is not boring. We get involved, and when you support that team, and when that local team is winning, it means the world. I would say that local high school teams are the epicenter also of every community. When they do well, we all feel good, and it's good to be in a position to support them.
Yeah.
Heidi, you have been a phenomenal guest. I'd like to end with a couple of questions. So, for the person that was where you were 20 years ago, maybe downsized, we are in an economy where that's happening to a lot of people. They're looking for a new opportunity, and maybe insurance is on their radar. What would you say about getting into the insurance business?
I would say that if you want to own a business, you want flexibility, you want something that's not boring, because yes, it sounds boring, but the day to day is never the same. That's the one thing I really love about this job, is it's never boring, as far as you never know what's coming. It's pick that phone up, it's something new, something challenging, your staff comes to you. So, if that's something you want to do it. Surround yourself with people that can encourage you. If you're a go-getter, it's a fabulous way to have a good income and a flexibility. But don't do it alone. Make sure you involve other people, that you hire people that can't do what you can do. Like I'm a salesperson background, so I can do service, but I want to hire people that can nurture that customer.
Yes.
So and then using vendors to make your job easier, I think is
Yes.
really important. I use Canopy Connect. you know,
Tell me what you like about Canopy Connect.
I just like that when you're talking to a customer or to a prospect, if you can say, hey, because a lot of times they don't know what coverages they have. Well, that's really easy. I can just, help you to get that information over to me in a couple minutes. Are you willing to do that? Yes. They go into their phone, they click the link, and then all of a sudden you can see every single policy that they have, and it just makes it a lot easier to have a conversation.
I love it. I love it. It beats the old school way that we were doing it many, many years ago of car, VIN number. What were
Yeah.
those digits? Say the letters and numbers again. Much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to go meet an agent before I became an agent. He had been doing it for like 20 years. He says, you're going to spend like 80 hours a week in this job. Well, I don't spend 80 hours a week in this job because I'm efficient and I hire the right people. So
I love it. I love it. You're in the Michael Gerber place of working on E-Myth Revisited. You're working on your business, not in it. You have a phenomenal staff of 19 people. What's a typical day like for you now, and how do you wind down at the end of the day?
So a typical day is just kind of checking into my, I have a team that checks my email, but they'll leave me the items that I need to be looking at. So I'll be doing that. I'll have meetings, or podcasts. Pretty busy with that. I have been very involved too with like a lot of the all-state boards, like National Advisory Board, DGC. I'm not on anything right now. I just rolled off, but that has been something that's taken quite a bit of my time. I'm very big on the marketing piece of my agency, so I'm analyzing my numbers for all my lead vendors, making sure those relationships are going well. And when I want to wind down, I love food. I'm a big foodie, so I'm either cooking or, like last night, I went out to dinner with my husband and my daughter. And I'm always looking for new restaurants to try. So I have a lot of friends that will go, okay, let's once a month we'll get together and go try a new restaurant. I'll go hike in my backyard.
Yes.
Yeah, we have about half of our property is woods, oak trees. And so my husband's done all these trails back there. I'll take the dogs and hike back there. We do a lot of RVing. We have a place in Central Oregon, which is the high desert. We do
Nice.
kayaking and hiking out there. And then, to be honest, my guilty pleasure is reality TV. I know it's so silly, but I love reality TV.
Housewives of everywhere in
Yes,
America.
unfortunately, it's a little embarrassing, but yeah.
That's a great guilty pleasure. I was waiting for the answer. I was waiting for the answer that said that you sit in the backyard, it's completely dark, and you're looking up, you're gazing at the beautiful stars because there's no lights back there disrupting your view.
It is beautiful. Yes, I do that, especially in the summer. We're just kind of getting into that part of season, so I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, I am getting ready to work in the yard and be more outside, and I'll be planting all my flowers in my pots here in the next couple weeks.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Heidi, any final words before we wrap up? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Well, you probably don't know that I was an adrenaline junkie. I'm not as much now. I've kind of wind down, but I have over 100 skydives.
Oh my God. Talk
Yeah.
about that. That's a
Yeah.
phenomenal thing to know.
Yeah. So in college, I started skydiving and jumped out of a hot air balloon, jumped out of a C-130. I had my own chute, did that for quite a number of years till I'm trying to think when I stopped, but it just kind of naturally just stopped doing it because it's pretty consuming. You're out there every weekend, and then at some point, you can't spend that much time doing it. So I haven't done it for a long time, but every once in a while, I think I need to go do a tandem jump.
I love it. Adrenaline junkie. Does that
Yeah.
apply to roller coasters as well? Have
Oh, I
you
love
been
roller
going
coasters.
to 46 states? Have you ridden on every challenging roller coaster across
I
the country?
wish. No, but I have ridden on a lot of them. I've gone to, why can't I think of it? The one in Ohio, Cedar Point.
Okay.
That's with the tallest one, Millennial, I think. And then my favorite roller coaster is X2 at Magic Mountain. That is the most unique, coolest because it rotates as it's going on the coaster, so you're all over the place.
Oh
And
my
then I
God.
have bungee jumped, I've hang glided, I have my scuba license certification, and then I was also a volunteer firefighter for 5 years.
Heidi, you buried the headline. We've talked for 45 minutes
Sorry,
here,
sorry.
and
I
you
know you
saved
didn't
all
ask
the
me.
cool stuff for the end. We should have been talking about firefighting and being an adrenaline junkie. I
Yeah,
I use the fact that I'm risk adverse. I credit it to be in the insurance industry. Obviously, I can't use that excuse anymore because you're doing every fun, dangerous, and crazy thing out there. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah,
Well,
it's
Heidi,
fun.
you have
Yeah.
been a phenomenal guest. Oregon, if you're in the great state of Oregon and you're looking for an insurance agent that's not a scaredy cat, and that's willing to take a risk and knows how to help you protect all the risks that you face on a daily basis, look no further. Everyone, please put your hands together, give a warm wind down with Kev welcome. I got to shout my sponsors out first before I close. Once again, UC Carroll Media, right behind me, all things digital, all things social media. Canopy Connect, we got in a great conversation how they make the process of both selling and buying insurance much easier. Wintrust Financial, thank you. And again, coming back to my phenomenal guest representing the great state of Oregon today, look no further, Heidi Rowan.